but I wouldn't run into any problems, which kind of glad I did. And people will always be like, oh, well, so-and-so did it, but they didn't get a copyright claim. Well, I don't care what so-and-so did. It just means that they didn't get hit with it yet. Of course, people have had videos up and they've been hit with stuff later, so just to try and protect myself as best as I can. I mean, who cares? Why do you want to listen to a random song in a game? Anyway, I'm talking over it, and there's usually game music over it, so doesn't really, or game sounds of the game, doesn't really matter. That's why I'm always confused why people tell me that I need to turn the music on because I won't get hit with a copyright claim, which they don't know. I don't know. And I'm talking over it anyway, so who cares? But that is the end of the game. This is the end of the campaign. Campaign was pretty good. Some of the later levels weren't as good as the early levels, I think, but minimally so. Some of them got kind of annoying. I mean, they have the annoying parts. Every Call of Duty game has those annoying parts where you just get stuck because the spawns are stupid or there's an infinite spawn, blah blah blah. So talk about some of the things in the game that I didn't like. Not a lot of things that pissed me off. The infinite spawn thing kind of rubs me the wrong way. Of course, it adds challenge that some people like, but sometimes it just gets annoying. Like, there wasn't always infinite spawns. It was certain spots, it seemed, like that one hallway. The whole thing didn't have it. Just certain spots did, which was kind of annoying, but not really. I mean, it was tolerable. It didn't really piss me off to the point where I was like, I don't want to play this anymore. When I died to it like 3 or 4 times in a row in that hallway, I got kind of put off, but not by much. I mean, it's a very minimal problem that I could be happy with them taking it out, but if they left it in, I wouldn't really care too much. Like, the game doesn't have a lot of things wrong with it. Number one, it's a Call of Duty game. The campaign is going to be short. Like, this is going to be done in like 30 videos, I think, which is I couldn't even tell you how long that's going to be, considering some of my videos run from 10 minutes to like 16 minutes for this. So, you know, it's going to be like 5 or 6 hours. It's usually about how long a Call of Duty campaign is. Most times when you buy a Call of Duty game, you're not going to get a huge campaign. And for anyone who was asking who didn't know, yes, Bowman was played by Ice Cube. And unfortunately, John F. Kennedy was not played by John F. Kennedy. I'm sorry. We just couldn't get him to come in and do it. He wouldn't do it. Fidel Castro, couldn't get Fidel to come in and do the voice either. I'm sorry, but you know, the scheduling wasn't right. The money just wasn't there. It didn't work out. So we couldn't get Fidel to come in and do the voice. But moving on, I thought the game overall done pretty well. Campaign was good, but most people aren't going to buy Call of Duty for the campaign. They're either going to buy it for the multiplayer mainly, or zombies, like a lot of people might just get the game. They won't play online, but they'll play zombies a lot. Like, I have a friend who does that. He just likes to play the zombie mode. I like to play the online mostly. So it's hard to pretty much give this game a bad score based on the campaign. Like, hypothetically, if the campaign sucked, you have to look at the multiplayer first. Like, if you're not going to play the game for the multiplayer, then I wouldn't even really try to review the game at all. And that's not specifically for me. That's like for anyone. If you're not going to factor in the multiplayer with a game like this or Halo, then you might as well not even review the game. You might as well, I think you have to factor it in at this point. Like, you can review the campaign, but you can't be like, oh, the game sucked because it was short. Well, there's multiplayer. Well, I don't like multiplayer. Well, the main thing you get out of the game is the multiplayer. That is what's going to give you most of your time. Unless you play the campaign like 300 times, then yeah, okay, you know, you really like the game to play it that many times. But we'll see. I like the online. It's not as good as Call of Duty 4. Like, I don't think anything is going to match up to that anytime soon for me. That game was just amazing. Like, everything about that game was pretty much dead on, except for the grenades. That was pretty much it. Like, the grenades kind of sucked, but everything about that game was dead on. I haven't played a ton of multiplayer with this yet, so I can't tell you how things are going to evolve. Like, usually within the first couple months, you're going to see how things go. And it really falls a lot falls on Treyarch to keep up with the game, fix the bugs that come out, patch things that the community wants patched. But they have been doing. A patch just recently came out where I think I read that they changed some of the spawns because the spawn system wasn't picking up correctly. I read it on their forums. They changed some of the spawns. They reduced the knife lunge a little bit as a trial, and then they did something else. I can't remember. So if it's one thing I always said about Treyarch, even though World at War I didn't like the online at all, and the multiplayer was like bug ridden in the beginning. If it's one thing I always said about Treyarch, even though before this they weren't as good of a developer, as I use air quotations, they weren't as good of a developer as Infinity Ward. If it was one thing that they had on top of them, is that they had like fan service times 300 of what Infinity Ward had. Infinity Ward just did not seem to give a shit about what people were saying. Sure, they fixed some stuff, they patched the 1887s, but they didn't do much else. Like, a lot of people hated knifing, a lot of people hated Danger Close and OMA, and all Infinity Ward went on to say was, oh, it's just another way for people to play our game. Well, yeah, sure, but it's annoying as hell and kind of unbalanced, to be honest. But if there's one thing I always said about Treyarch is that they had really good fan service, so we'll see how things go. As for the game as a whole, like I didn't dislike things a lot. Campaign's kind of short, but whatever. It's a Call of Duty game. Like, if you're expecting a full-blown 20-hour experience out of a Call of Duty game anytime lately, then probably not going to get it. But there were some other things that annoyed me, but you can tell that I wasn't really, like, not a lot of things stood out about the game. If I can't even remember these things, they're very minimal. And if the only thing I can remember that's infinite spawns pissing me off, then there's very minimal what's wrong with the campaign. So overall, so far, including multiplayer and zombies and all that stuff, I'd probably give the game a 9 to a 9.5. I usually add like that half a point in. Right now, I would give the game a 9 or a 9.5, and I would say definitely go buy it if you plan on playing the campaign and or zombies and or multiplayer. Like, if you're gonna play two of the things or even all three of them, you're gonna get your money's worth. And there's also like little hidden games within the game that you can do when you can break out of the chair in the opening sequence. So this game, you will get your money worth out of it. So far, there aren't a whole lot of problems with it that I can see. Multiplayer is kind of good. It's pretty good. I think so far, if Infinity Ward had taken out some of the things that had really annoyed me and a lot of the community, I think Modern Warfare 2's online would be better than Black Ops. I think. I can't really say for sure right now. It depends on how things go with this game's online. But Modern Warfare 2 was very good, I think. Unfortunately, Treyarch over-nerfed sniping and shotguns in this game. And while I didn't like sniping too much, like, it never really was my thing, I feel bad for the snipers who got their shit nerfed so far until people can like figure out how to adapt to it, if you even can. But I'm not a sniper. I don't play as a sniper. I haven't played as a sniper since Call of Duty 4. And even then, in Call of Duty 4, I wasn't a run-around, quick-scoping sniper. Like, I'd pick spots, I would shoot a guy, I would move, I'd shot another guy, and I'd move. Or, if the team was stupid enough, I'd sit in the same spot and just keep sniping people. That's how I played. But then I dropped that after Call of Duty 4 and World at War. I was just an SMG assault rifle guy, and Modern Warfare 2, mostly assault rifles, some LMGs, and then in this game, mostly assault rifles. I don't like the SMGs too much, and I think like all the LMGs in this game kind of suck except for the Stoner. But overall, the game's really good. If you haven't bought it yet, which I know most of you probably have by now, I would definitely give it a buy unless you hate the online. But the game is good. You know, there's not a whole lot wrong with it. I really can't think of anything. I know I've complained about some stuff before during the campaign, but really it was just all minimal stuff. And online, some of the recoil of the guns is a little high, I think, but like I said, that's just adapting to new stuff. They're fine. I'll get over it. Gotten better with it since playing, but you know, we'll see how things go. I don't know if there's going to be any type of cutscene after the credits. So I know that the credits are probably going to last a while. Like, as you can see, my my Xbox already kind of went dark because I haven't really touched anything in a while. Great, sounds terrible, but I'll actually be back in about a couple seconds. I need to go get something real quick. Alright, so I'm good to go. I'm sure you could hear the microphone clinking around a little bit, but we're pretty much at the end of the credits credits anyway.